this video feed on. Hi Facebook friends, hi music friends. So let's see. Trying to think, do you guys need anything you don't have?
I don't think so.
So let's say Tori, Dave, Lavender, Honey. I took notes, but
Danny, our percussionist, who's not here with us.
yeah, so it's a trio, was a quartet, but we can talk as much or little about that as you wish. Yeah. Let's see. Did It in the Dark? Did that release today?
You're releasing it.
Oh, that's scary.
This is the master release of Did It in the Dark and the Amp Party to our music video, which is dropping at noon on Friday for Did It in the Dark.
Okay. Oh, very good. So I will awkwardly say, oh, tell us more about that. Those kinds of things, and you guys feel free to talk as much as you like. The best interviews are when you talk a lot and I talk very little. Now I'm capable of filling the space. We have had a few guests in the past, mostly from out of town folks, and they had one-word answers to questions.
Oh, okay.
Like yes, no.
3, 4.
I don't know. Which is like that's death for radio.
Right.
Yeah.
So just talk. Say as much as you want.
It's
right?
like my favorite thing to do besides sing is talk. So.
Well, then you will be well served here, Tori.
I may have been practicing this since I was a little girl. Who knows?
Well, I mean, didn't we all?
I
think
so.
every radio DJ is a frustrated musician in one way or another. But you used to picture yourself, on a stage or in a, having a big audience. You're there with the hairbrush or whatever implement you could grab that was close in hand that you could pretend was a microphone.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I think that's just the nature of the beast.
Definitely. I used to fall asleep. Actually, I still do it. I fall asleep playing songs in my mind, in my head, and I act some type of narrative or some type of off-the-wall music video in my mind. Like my brain, that's how I fall asleep at night, is listening to music.
Oh, really?
And creating a story with it or creating imagery with it. I make up videos in my head. Ever since the first little MP3 players came out, that's what I started falling asleep doing. Just listening to music and imagining.
Yeah. So well, I should save some of this for on air. So is it the music that speaks to you first, or is it the story or narrative? Or I shouldn't make it either or.
Typically, I can say that there's a recall associated with music and sounds, and sometimes like that music will draw something. I'll tap into something that's already present, and then it brings it to the forefront, and then that's all I can focus on is that until it's in completion, whether harmonically or with lyrically. And the project has to be complete before I can quit thinking about it. Otherwise, it just is there.
Okay. No, I can respect that.
And I typically write from my own shoes, my own perspective. It's not very rare. I write from outside of my own
So it's a first person.
It's more of a first person experience. But lately with this band, I've been able to incorporate other people's experience and things I know versus things I do into the music, which has been cool.
Now the new version of Did It in the Dark, is that the 347? Roughly speaking, I've got a 348 and a 347.
Yeah, whichever file was I put it as double wave. It said wave on it, so.
But see, the computer will retitle everything.
Okay.
And like I said, I was in a rush hurry.
I can check really quick to see which one it is because I have it right here.
And this will be Mission Man.
Hi, this is Mission Man. And I just want to say thank you, YTAA, for providing us 17 minutes.
That transition did not go well. Oops. And I will often fight with the computer because the computer has a different idea of how things should go.
Don't they all?
Seriously, right?
They're wonderful when they work.
I'm pretty sure it's the 347.
I believe it is. It's loading for me to see how long my newest file is.
Because I don't believe I put the album title in because I wasn't sure.
It's just self-titled.
Oh, yeah. Let's see.
Self-titled and
Mine's
my
master
could be
is
this
350.
Modify. Recorded 9/14/21.
yeah, it's 350, unless it cut it off a couple of seconds.
Oh yeah, that's the computer doing its
All right, so then it's the longest.
10:05, and then is this one like today's date? It is. Haha, that's the one.
All right, yeah, so you can get rid of the other ones.
Pardon me.
And I'm struggling with allergies today, so that's what.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I will cough a few times in here, and I will cover and things like that, but I know now more than ever, a cough means a lot more than it used to be.
I have at-home tests, and I took 2 last week just to make sure that my little cold was just a little
Same
cold.
here. I had a PCR test because I was actually sick with RSV.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is a pediatric disease most of the time. But
Yeah. It's unusual for adults to get
yeah,
it.
yeah. And I got it, and I actually am still healing from 2 broken ribs from coughing.
Oh, man. I am convinced years ago that I herniated from coughing so hard. I coughed so hard that I fell over and saw stars.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Now, this was years ago. And then I'm like, everybody has a sore tummy, and I'm a big guy, I need to lose weight and all that. So, and then finally saw my doctor. Yeah, I've had a stomach ache for like a year, and he's like, you have a hernia. You feel this?
My.
This shouldn't be this way.
Oh my.
And then I go to the surgeon. He's like, well, you have a double hernia.
Jesus.
How hard did you cough?
Oh my.
And I explained to him, and he's like, well, you may have done some damage that day, but then by not getting it taken care of, you compounded the problems.
Listen to your body.
Yeah.
January 2020, I was coughing so hard and I fell down the stairs. And I hit every stair on my hip on the way down, and
dear
I
Lord.
threw my hips off by about 4 centimeters. So
Oh, really? Like permanently now?
Until I started with the chiropractor.
Oh, okay, and then they helped you.
Yoga,
Yeah.
chiropractor, back and forth. But it was from coughing. I was at the top of the steps, and I already pinched something, and down she goes.
So I should remind you guys, it's great to mute your phone if you haven't already. But if people call you, it's no big deal. The line will ring at least twice before the system automatically picks it up. I just feel like that shows us people are listening.
Definitely. I have the live feed brought up just in case there's any cool questions or anything comes up.
Oh, lovely. And I do
want
check
to
Facebook if people have questions too.
Cool.
I'm going to let it go into David, your ID, then play the song, and then come in.
Okay.
Does that work for you guys?
Sure.
Hi, this is David Scott from Lavender, and you're listening to your Tuesday afternoon alternative with Dr. J.
Bring that down. That sounds like the right version too. It was just louder. It popped in a way that the first version didn't. You know what I mean?
Right. We brought the subs down.
Oh, is that what you did?
Well,
So I was convinced you turned something up.
No, yeah. The subs were brought down just a little bit. Now, if you're listening to it like with car speakers, or the thing is, it was mixed and mastered so well.
Yeah.
I cranked it and it doesn't distort.
Really?
There's
Now, see, now that sounds like a challenge when I get home.
Yeah, it was really fun to rework it and go through everything at the process with Sarah, our Samurai Sound.
Yeah.
So that's been a really great experience recording with another female as well who understands
Which is
the voice
funny.
and
Because she's worked with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And we've been friends on Facebook for a long time, and I didn't make the connection. The Samurai Sound stuff was actually her.
Yep, that's
Like,
her. That's her. Yep. It's cool when you
I was
can do
today
both
years
sides of
old.
things. I know how to sing, I know how to perform, but when it comes to the tech part, I'm like, ooh, show me the way. What are you doing?
Oh,
What is
okay,
it? I
okay.
don't know what to do.
And she's been a real help trying to kind of reshape the sound of the way we.
Yeah.
Vision, there you
Yeah.
go.
It's interesting though. Your voice. Well, now of course you're classically trained, but there are textures that you bring to your voice that aren't there when you speak. Now of course that's probably you being mindful to accomplish something when you're singing, as opposed to when you're just having a chat.
Yeah, that's interesting. Go ahead.
At least that's my take, which can be totally wrong, everybody.
Well, especially right now, I was out of voice for a few days last week from having a cold and everything.
Oh God, yeah, tell me about it.
But as far as my singing voice, I grew up on country music and Marshall Tucker and Leonard Skinner and
Really?
Kevin Hart and Stevie Nicks and Maria Muldaur
Yeah.
and Frank Sinatra and Judy Garland and So in Charlotte Church. So I've always had like different things that I would enjoy
I think you just listed like
impersonating.
7 genres.
Yeah. And I always was interested in impersonating things like, oh yeah, I think I did it. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
I've always
okay.
loved to do that, and to figure out what my actual voice was the process of going through classical training, was taking off those layers of impersonation and figuring out what my instrument actually did.
Oh, okay, yeah. What do I sound like?
Yeah,
right.
what do I sound like?
Yeah,
What is
yeah,
my
yeah.
voice? And my voice teacher and my choir directors in college really did a great job at making it obvious that you can sound however your body is supposed to sound.
Right.
And embrace that noise and let that noise fly from your soul.
I like it. Well, I mean, the idea that you have to sound a certain way, people tend to forget that a vocalist has a lot they can do or not do to create a certain effect. I'm pretty straightforward with my students. I teach a class related to pop music, and I'm like, okay, let's listen to 4 or 5 different Bob Dylan songs, and each time he's going to sound completely different, right? Early Dylan has a certain sound, you know. Dylan from the 80s had a polished sound, you know. The bluesy Dylan has, you know, a rougher edge tint to it, and like even like his classics and stuff like that. We good?
Yeah, ready to go.
Lavender Honey here on your Tuesday afternoon alternative with the new mix for Did It in the Dark. We are really overjoyed to have Tori and Dave of Lavender Honey here in the studio with us. Thank you guys for coming in.
Oh, thank you for having
Thank you, Dr. J, for having us.
So I appreciate you guys taking the time to come in. I know Did It in the Dark, that was a premiere right there.
Oh yeah, that was the premiere. That's the big guy.
So we should talk about it a little bit. Tell us about Did It in the Dark, how you made it, how you approached it.
Okay. Well.
Musically, I was handed the track by Dave.
Yeah, so
you have to start with the music part.
I don't remember quite how I came up with the track. I had a beat, and I had this bass line this real simple bass line that I'd started out with, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, the feel of it, I wasn't able to get the feel that I wanted out of it, so I decided to do the bass line on synths. And when I incorporated the synthesizer bass line to that beat, I'm like, wait a minute, okay, there's something here atmospherically. Was able to put in the chord changes with the Fender Rhodes on there, and sent it to Tori. I'm like, I think there might be something here.
When I first heard it, I was really excited about it because it was a sound that I've kind of heard here and there, but not more as an outro or an intro to a song. The way Did It in the Dark felt to me was it was a story. It had something to say, but it wasn't forthright. It wasn't in your face. And with Did It in the Dark, the meaning behind it has a dual meaning. Honestly, you can take the lyrics for what you need them to be. That's how I like to write my music. However, with Did It in the Dark, I really like to highlight that while everyone else is in the dark and not knowing what you're up to, you're still making magic. People don't have to be aware of what you're creating and what you're doing and what you're into for it to be successful or for it to be the right thing. So what are we doing while you're in the dark? Well, let me turn on the light and I'll show you. And I really think that our upcoming music video will kind of turn on that light bulb for what Did It in the Dark really means to me as an individual, and I hope other people get exactly what they need from it.
And when does that video come out?
Noon on Friday, January 7th, 2022, on our YouTube channel, Lavender Honey Music. There is a link at our Instagram. I'm Spanish Tori on Instagram, by the way. You can follow along, and all links are in my bio. And so noon, recorded by Chris Daly of Only Noise. He's a magician with a camera. That man is the man. I've watched his skills and his audience and his capabilities grow throughout the years, and so I was very excited to get to do that project with him. This has been a project with Chris in the making for 2 years now. Since the beginning of the pandemic, we kind of had a project that we wanted to record at the arcade, and it was shut down. And now we got to create this music video project with this song, and he really told the narrative that I was trying to bring across. So that will be noon Friday on our YouTube channel. You can subscribe to get notified when that goes live. And we recorded it locally at the Zen Lounge, the new bar and sushi cafe, cocktail lounge, down on Ludlow.
Well, walk us through Lavender Honey. How did you guys get together? I know we're excited about a full-length release that comes out here soon,
Right.
but tell us about how the band got together.
All right, I'll
Go ahead, Dave.
I'll take the lead on that one.
Yeah.
So, like everybody else during the pandemic, we are cooped up, living through this nightmare, that we've been living through for the past couple of years. And in that, atmosphere of being cooped up, I started to get the itch to write songs. By the time I was done, when I finally put all the instruments away and sifted through everything that I had pre-recorded, I had about 3 albums worth of music, like practically done. Didn't know what to do with it, so I started looking for vocalists to maybe just try and put something on. Let's see what we can do. So I reached out to Tori and said, "Hey, I have a couple of tracks. I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet, but here, I'll give them to you. See what you can do." As soon as I got back, the first song that we worked on together was "Sticks and Stones." I was like, "We got to get a band together," because I was just floored by what she sent back. So I was like, "Hey, can I convince you to be in a band with me?" And she said yes, or we wouldn't be sitting here today. And I was like, "Here's about 10 more. See what you can do with them." And she kept just bringing me back just gold. And I'm like, "Yeah, we got to get a band together. We can't just keep this to ourselves."
One of the most fun parts for me was the fact that when those tracks hit my inbox, even the first two, not Sticks and Stones, but the others, there were certain poems and lyric pieces and just little tidbits that I had written previously that somehow fit. I didn't have to cut lyrics. I didn't have to change the timing. The beats that I heard in my mind were now in my ears, and I didn't make them. I didn't know how to make them, but here they are, and now I got to do something with them. With Sticks and Stones, that first track he sent me this track that sounded like, I don't know, like Lady Gaga had a party with Madonna and Blondie, and they just had this whole free-for-all adventure in my mind, and Sticks and Stones was born, which is about, I'm from the Sticks. If you're from the Sticks, sometimes they throw stones, and that's true for anybody, no matter where you're from. Love my hometown, Faco, but kids throw sticks and they throw stones, and you can't let them break you. Also, I'm from the Sticks, and I like where I'm from. No matter what anyone else thinks, you can have pride in where you are and still enjoy where you're going. And so I realized I was going to get to make music that made sense to me, lyrically, harmonically, and I loved all of my previous projects that I've been a part of, but this project, it felt true. It felt true without wearing a caricature of myself. I just got to make some music, finally.
So it fit? It fit you?
It fit me. It fit me, and I fit it, and I knew that this was something that I can start to create and to grow with as I figure out what that sound is going to be. Our video does drop on Friday. That's also my 30th birthday. So this Friday, I'll be 30, and the video will drop, and this whole project, 10 years of making music in Dayton, and just kind of tipping over that first domino is kind of like being here in your studio right now, Dr. J. So.
Well. First of all, you're being way too kind.
I can't help it. I've been listening to you since I was at Wright State. So.
Now that's frightening. But if you were here in the studio, or if you're watching on our Facebook stream, I got some gray. It's true. But I'm also curious. So you're starting to connect with Tori. It clicks. It feels right. You've got a bunch of songs. Where do you go from there?
Well, we added Danny to the project, Danny L. Danny L is our percussionist, so we liked to add a more organic feel to the live shows. With these live shows, we're actually booking far into this year. We will be seeing Pittsburgh in March, we'll be seeing Colorado in August, and we are going for just making music, sharing it with people, and making music that's inclusive of the diverse crowd, the diverse melting pot of this whole world. So I'm happy making music here in this town. I'm happy having someone stream my music over in South Africa, or over in the UK, where I have friends who I know have got to enjoy a little bit, So as far as the size of the project, where the universe takes us is where it takes us. But this is the only thing I've ever planned on doing for certain is making music. And it's the only thing I'll be satisfied doing. So bartender by day or mocktail tender by day, if that's what you prefer. I support your decisions. and singer by the rest of my life. That's just what I do.
And the genre that we kind of found ourselves into happened by accident too.
Yeah.
But like I said, when I got done sifting through everything that I had written, subconsciously, I mean, I'd started writing on a lot of synthesizer, so a lot of these songs that you have not heard yet are very danceable. They're fun, and as a live act, now that we're at that point where we're going to be able to share this with the live audiences as long as the world stays open. The biggest takeaway is we want people to have fun watching us live, because that's what we're trying to do, is have fun.
Oh yeah.
If we're having fun, music is fun to listen to. We've got a couple of different songs that maybe aren't quite as danceable, that kind of bend a different genre here and there, but it's still almost that same. It's got a unique sound, and it's electronic, and that's the direction we kind of found ourselves in, and it works for us. And
there's a definite retro vibe to it.
Yeah.
It kind of plays on different decades of nostalgia of like your favorite parts. There is I want my MTV energy in some of the synths and the sounds that we use. There's also is it 2040 right now? Like almost a futuristic. It feels futuristic to combine the elements that we're using in the way that we are. We're not trying to fit into a mold or a genre necessarily, but it's really fun to play with these elements of neo soul and pop and dance pop, electronica, and then trip hop. So it's eclectic, it's nostalgic, and it's got something for everyone in it. I also lyrically write sans pronouns as much as I can, so that you can sing a song to your mama, your daddy, your uncle, your lover, your sister, your mister, whatever you got, and you can feel like that song is written for you or for that person without having to change it. By all means, change it if you want. But
right.
I wrote it to where it's tangible subject matter. And inclusive to all. I grew up singing a lot of songs that were written by men, sang by men, because I do have a slightly lower register when I'm singing. So I loved singing Rod Stewart. I loved singing Leanne Rimes. But when I sang Rod Stewart, I'd have to change the lyrics a little bit around to really identify with the song. So I tried really hard to make sure that this album was able to identifiable for all, and sound-wise and lyrically.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Tori and Dave of Lavender Honey. Their new song is something that we are super excited about here on your Tuesday afternoon alternative. This is WUDR Dayton, rocking the Gem City, music in all directions. Support your local music scene. Hi there, I'm Dr. J. I've been your musical host for this marks the beginning of our 18th year. Wow. Does this mean that the show is going to leave home? I'm not quite sure how to feel about that just yet. But it is our pleasure to connect with great local musicians like Dave and Tori, as I mentioned before, of the band Lavender Honey. If anyone would like to reach out to you, can you run down your social media, your website again, so that people can easily reach out to you?
Definitely. Honestly, pick your favorite media. We're on Facebook, Lavender Honey. You can find us on YouTube, Lavender Honey Music, right?
Yes.
Yes, Lavender Honey Music is our YouTube channel. On Instagram, if you're on the gram, you can find me at Spanish Tori. All of the links are in my bio, lavender.honey.music and Spanish Tori.
Or you can just go straight to the website, lavenderhoneymusic.com.
Lavenderhoneymusic.com, where you can also stream 4 of our demo tracks currently, as well as see part of our upcoming show schedule, which will be updated as soon as possible.
Yeah, we got a lot of shows coming up. And like
And
Tori
that's
said, a lot of
exciting.
state shows too. So
Yeah, that's really exciting that you've got all of this lined up, and the album's not even out yet.
Not yet.
Well, and I know I always say that like tomorrow, right? But no, we were talking about Sticks and Stones, so it seems only appropriate that we launch into that.
Oh, yeah.
Is there anything you would add to what you already said about that? I think you kind of gave it a really nice send-off.
I would just like to say that sound effects are free, honey.
Okay, fair point. This is Lavender Honey with Sticks and Stones on your Tuesday afternoon alternative. Sorry, that's great.
It's the sound effects. In
So,
it.
so there's. I'm just gonna make a one small adjustment.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Fine.
And I'm gonna do that here. You're
Hi,
about
Sandra.
right.
Hi, Misty.
This is the stronger of the two mics, so I'm trying to balance the
gotcha.
sound so
Appreciate
that
it.
you're not washing each other out. But equipment's great when it works.
Okay. So go home, just run away.
Yeah, you guys are a great interview.
Thank you. It's fun. I like talking about this. It's like otherwise I.
Well, and your passion is it's infectious. You clearly enjoy this. You're loving doing this.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that easily comes through.
Cool. My godmama Misty's watching, and my aunt Sandra's watching.
Awesome. The challenge was really going to be, how are we going to do this live?
Oh well, that's what I was wondering about. We should talk about that because now that you're the trio, I mean, you only got two hands, Dave.
You never know that.
Right.
Well, I mean, and especially given like we talked the other day. So there's a lot more that you're doing to kind of add to the sound.
Right.
But then when you're playing live, there's only so much you can do.
Right, so depending on the song, like with this song, if we're playing live, you're going to see me playing the bass. You know, I've got a MIDI sequencer that I'm using. I do play a lot of the synthesizer live, but again, I only have two hands, so you know we've figured out how to utilize using a sequencer.
Right.
A lot of bands do it. My favorite band in the whole world, Rush, Geddy Lee.
Oh yeah.
You know, yeah.
He was very good at hitting something and then getting his hand over, doing something, and coming back.
And then do it with his foot.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Well,
With
and
the
the
move
different foot pedals. I mean,
Yeah.
of course, last time I saw them was years and years ago.
No, I'm not comparing myself to Geddy
Power
Lee. I'm just using that
Windows?
as an example.
I think it was Power Windows, but that was
Oh,
also
God.
one of those records where he started doing more synth live. It's
Right.
one thing to do it in the studio, as you know.
Right.
It's another thing.
And that's
So-
my favorite. That's my favorite time section of theirs. You know, I mean, they go through all these phases.
Oh, they
a lot
really
of
did.
people don't like their synth phase.
Sure,
I
sure.
love it. Love it.
Well, I mean, it wasn't everybody using synth in the '80s, though. I mean,
Right?
I mean, think how glossy everything sounded back then. Yeah.
yeah. Well, and the production, smooth. Pardon me.
You know, we have this song has been remixed, remastered,
Oh, yeah.
and
All these are gonna sound so much
re-recorded.
better.
All of the demos that are out have been redone with
Ah.
Samurai Sound. So
And I'm gonna stop. We're not gonna go into what for a long time was my favorite song. So if you're just joining us, you just heard Lavender Honey with Sticks and Stones, which Tori talked about quite eloquently, I might add, a few minutes ago. Tori and Dave of the band Lavender Honey are here in the studio. Did It in the Dark is available. The video comes out on Friday.
Friday,
Of course,
maybe.
check out all their social media for more information. They're going to be playing shows. And I know we were talking off air, Dave, about every band goes through evolution and development and changes.
Right.
And it's as true for you as it is for everyone else. But you're now a trio when you were a quartet.
Yeah, so we started out as a trio with another player. Initially, it was us and a guitar player.
Very talented guy.
Yeah, it just wasn't a good fit. And then we had somebody else come into the band who was going to play bass, and I was going to play guitar. And it just didn't work out. And then eventually, we are now in the form that we're, you know, the lineup that we're in now. So, you know, Danny, our drummer, dude's a machine. I mean, he just lays that backbeat down and really helps me keep track of where we're at, because we're using a lot of technology on stage.
Definitely. He's like the cue master, man.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, how do you replicate that live? I know we were talking about the challenges, and I off air, and I was jokingly saying, "Man, you only got two hands."
Yeah. So once I realized what had befallen me, and I It was self-inflicted.
It's your fault.
Yeah, I'm playing, so I am the bass player, I am the guitar player, and I am the keyboard player. But again, we are incorporating a lot of technology. You know, I've learned how to use sequencer, and it's my best friend now. Now, depending on the song, there's some songs where I'm playing bass and playing keyboards. There's some songs where I'm playing guitar and keyboards. You know, but I am playing a lot of synthesizers live. It's just there's only, like I said, I only have 2 arms. Like you said, I only have 2 arms.
He really takes what's driving the song and what's leading the song and really helping us keep those changes and what's most forefront and important. Dave brings into the organic realm so that we can kind of lean on the sequencers and everything, but then we are driven forward by the organic material that we're able to reproduce live. And in future albums, I play guitar and keyboard as well. I'm hoping to maybe take some of that off of his back, but I am usually kind of busy dancing. It's like my favorite thing to do besides
Which
sing.
is what we wanted to do.
So Dave has 5 hands.
Yeah. So that's how we're producing it live. I mean, again, the live show took about 4 or 5 months to figure out how we were going to do it, and then I've got a workstation in front of me, the MIDI sequencer, and then I've got 2. I don't know if I can use the brand or not, but I've got 2 analog Korg synthesizers on the other side. So I've got 4 keyboards in front of me.
That's a lot.
That's
4
a lot.
keyboards
That's
and a rack of guitars.
Yeah. So sorry, I'm struggling with allergies today, so my voice is kind of in. But yeah, so like I said, the live show took a long time to get right. And it's ready to go now. Now that we figured out how to use all this technology to our advantage. Now now it's no problem. Our rehearsals last about 30-45 minutes because we can just, boom, 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 get through them, so that's how we did it. And we weren't sure how we were going to do it, though. I mean,
We
it
did
really
it in
was.
the dark. I was waiting for an opportunity. I can't help it.
Well, and it lends itself to that, right? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I didn't do that on purpose or anything.
Well, if you are joining us, first of all, thank you. Welcome. This is Tori and Dave of Lavender Honey. We played Did It in the Dark, which is out now. Their new album comes out soon. They've got shows coming up. We'll do a big rundown of all their social media and website information again in a few minutes. If you have a question, feel free to reach out to us through our Facebook page, our Instagram account, or our Twitter account, DRJYTAA on Twitter and Instagram. Your Tuesday Afternoon Alternative on Facebook. Feel free to throw some questions our way that we can ask Tori and Dave. Now, Tori, I'm listening to Dave talk about all these things that he has to do. Now, you have, I don't want to say another set of expectations, but in some ways, you're the quintessential front woman, right? You're connecting with the crowd. You're making eye contact. You're bringing people into the excitement and the energy of the music that's being made. Have you always wanted to perform?
Yes. Short answer, yes. I can't really think of a time, with the exception of the very beginning of college, where I didn't think I would be a performer. When I was 3 years old, you could find me at my house clutching my cassette tape and my little primary colored microphone cassette player, and I would be walking around Leanne Rimes, boo, and I would just walk around and singing the same words over and over again. Patsy Cline's Walking After Midnight was my other first song. So when I was little, I'd stand on that coffee table, and if it's concert time, y'all better watch out, because Tori's not stopping until nap 30. And it's always been that way. I was in choir, I was in show choir, and I helped with choreography with my director. She was wonderful. Miss Holly Staley's excellent. I started out in college with psychology and criminal justice, and very quickly, after just escaping into a lecture hall one day, letting out a little Italian aria, and I started studying music. And I went through the music program for 5 years at Wright State. It was a wonderful, unequivocated experience what I got to do with my teachers, Dr. Dahlman, Ms. Miniman, Dr. Collins, just wonderful people. And even then, I was in the education field instead of the performance field, and I was always like, I'm right there. I can teach, I can be here, but to be on stage and perform is really where I'm at home. I used to leave my voice lessons, and I would go over to Yellow Springs, hang out at Peaches, which is where I met Bill Sykes and everyone of Spanish Tony Sanchez, my former project. And that project's just kind of on the back burner right now, on the low simmer. We haven't really got to get together since the pandemic, just because distance, time, and other circumstances have kind of kept us apart. But those are my brothers. Those are my brothers for sure. And getting to perform with them, I was kind of a character. It was a heavy rock band. I was the front woman there, screaming in your face, jumping up and down, headbanging, having a great time. And eventually I kind of grew out of that angsty, angry kind of role that I was in. The music was a different kind of mood. It was party music. It was angry music from the things that I was writing about. It was rock and roll, baby, rock and roll, yeah, dude. And I've just always, in my mind, in the mirror, in the car, it doesn't matter where I am, I've always been planning, what would I do on stage this? What would I do differently from that performer? How would I help that performer be better also? I do like to do coaching with other people to kind of bring them out of their shell, but on stage, there's a certain beast that comes off. It's actually me up there more than any other place.
So like you were saying earlier, how the music that Dave is making, that you're making together, right? That spoke to you as authentic and real, right? So it seems in some ways like you're bringing together your love of performance with your love of music. I'm curious, how did you guys meet? Right, you told us, Dave, about, okay, I had an idea and I reached out to Tori and I sent her ideas, but how did you guys even just ever get to know each other?
So I don't remember where we met. This is hilarious. I can't remember. It was a show or it was where I worked, and I just cannot remember which of the two, which came first, the chicken or the egg. But we've been Facebook friends for the longest time, and you know, when you're connected in the digital world, sometimes it does fall by the wayside of how it actually all started. But how long have we known each other? Known of each other maybe 3-4 years.
3 or 4 years.
Or so?
Okay, so there was probably a lot of alcohol involved
Yes.
in us meeting each other. I think it
Classic
wasn't
rock and roll
it
story.
There's
was a
much
show.
less alcohol involved in my life now, except for the bartending part.
Sure,
So.
sure.
But yeah, it was
I
it was at a show. I don't remember where it was, but and then one day I went into one of the places she used to work, and I was like, wait a minute, I know you. And I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh,
and then,
yeah, we
and
met
that,
that
yeah,
one time.
Yeah, and you know, we just kind of every once in a while, you know, we just reach out and be like, oh hey, blah blah blah.
Check this out.
Yeah.
Listen to this.
And
Oh,
then-
cool.
and
Nice
then-
to see you.
You know, when I have these songs, I was like, I gotta find somebody who might get what I'm trying to do, and
I'm just glad I like to meet people. I collect people, and you might hear me say that in person, especially if you ever sit at my bar. I collect people. I love people's stories, and that's what Call Me in the Evening is about people's stories and how I do actually want to know. I'm not just humoring you. When I walk around after a show, I make a point to make eye contact and have the opportunity to try to high five everyone there, or at least wave, give a shout out, speak to them. That's because music is connection to me, and I mean, I grew up in the country. I've always kind of been a little bit of a I have my little groups of friends, but I've kind of just been a solo flyer, it feels like. So I'm just attracted to people's experiences and getting to, what does your voice sound like? What's your name? Where are you from? Awesome. I hope to see you again. And it's real for me. It's satisfying to meet the people. And that's how I met Dave, and how I've met so many other musicians and artists, photographers, stay-at-home moms, engineers, lawyers, just the people that I've had the opportunity to meet, just because I want to know. Yeah, I want to know about them, and I'm blessed that being on this stage makes me feel, other people feel like I am approachable, and I am. I want to be that way. Come talk to me, say hi. Don't hug me, but say hi.
Well, I know the Dayton music community is a very hugging community, but it seems like right now is the wrong time to do that. Let's do the virtual hugs.
I'm a permission type of person. Can I hug you? Can we have a hug? Like, I'm all for that. Surprise hugs aren't my friend these days.
Oh, and I have always been that person, and it was a real adjustment for me when I started to connect to the Dayton music community, and I realized, okay, these people are huggers.
If we find out you're a musician, we love you automatically.
I used to not be a hugger, and now, of course, the pandemic has added a lot of concerns there. But certainly I understand people wanting to show appreciation and wanting to share a real emotion with one another. And all too often there are limitations there.
Right.
If you're just joining us, we have Tori and Dave of Lavender Honey here in the studio. You're listening to your Tuesday afternoon alternative with Dr. J. We're celebrating a number of years. We don't need to throw those numbers around. Nah, the gray in my beard speaks for itself. We're going to continue with them. They told me that they did not have to leave at any particular time. Boy, are they going to regret those words. But we're going to continue with them as we continue with hour number 2 of your Tuesday afternoon alternative here on WUDR Flyer Radio from the University of Dayton. We're part of the lovely complex known as Art Street. Lovely new.
Diana commented on my post. She said sound effects are free.
I can't spell.
That's hilarious.
Oh, Diana, I love you. That's funny.
Hi, this is David Scott from Lavender Honey, and
Hey,
you're
what's
listening to your Tuesday afternoon alternative with Dr. J.
God, my voice is so.
I love it.
You sound like a man.
That's why we don't sing.
He does though. He does the backup
Well,
vocals
I was
for
going to say, you have a
Madonna.
lovely baritone.
He does the background